Welcome back to History of the Yu-Gi-Oh player, which hasn't been done on this channel for quite some time, and I'm sure eventually I'll unprivate the other ones. Basically, if you're new to the series or you haven't seen this before or anything like that, I pick someone from the Yu-Gi-Oh community, some of the more established players, well-known players, and we basically just have a like a 1 hour stream or whatever, talking to them about their journey through Yu-Gi-Oh from basically beginning to end, talking about some of their notable achievements, anything that they're particularly proud of, fond memories of the game, and then we talk a little bit about, their idea of the game and how they view it, like how they deck build, how they look at card choices, all these different kinds of things, and basically just get the full picture. So today we're here with the fan favorite of the channel, I think, is Darren Stephenson.
Hey.
So you guys probably all know Darren from just the idiot who just goes Bradley. Strangely enough, he's actually technically the best player among us, which is kind of surprising based on his behavior. But anyway, you've got 5 tops, Darren.
Anecdotal.
5 5 opinions, and Brett's a little salty about it. But yeah, let's just start from the beginning. Why did you start playing this shit game?
I think like a lot of people that just watched the anime, didn't they? When like the first Yugi and Kaiba structure deck came out, you're like, whoa, fucking Dawn Magician, right? And you just like, ever since then, I've just been like picking up cards, not really know what on earth I'm doing.
Not much has changed then since you're playing Trickster.
But yeah, so I've just been like, been on and off for years, I think. And when I was a kid, I stopped playing just because I didn't really have the right support when I was like young. Like my parents would not like take us to events and stuff, and like since I lived in the middle of nowhere, I couldn't really get to like.
All right, shit. Here I was thinking like, oh, I had like an abusive family or something. I didn't have the right support and needs.
So I couldn't really get to events, and then I just suddenly like lost interest eventually. And then when like I got a bit older and I could like travel by myself, I got back into the game again.
What year was that? Or what format was that, rather?
Rescue Cat format.
So that's like 2012?
Like 2011, I think. 2010, 2011, around about then.
Yeah, 2012 was like.
I was literally only playing for like a month or something. I was playing that, and then I think Rescue Cat got hit in the list straight away, and then I just got butthurt. And
then you just go what?
I got proper butthurt because they hit Rescue Cat, and then I was quite close-minded as a kid as well. When they announced XYZ, I was just like, nah, fuck that shit, and I just stopped playing.
Fuck it all. I wonder how you reacted to Pendulums being released.
I just read Utopia and I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? And I just stopped playing. This is nonsense.
Darren thought Utopia was too broken, so he quit.
But yeah, and then like, cut one Christmas of 2013, I get like Christmas money and I don't really have a hobby by then or anything. So I'm just like, what can I do with this money? So I'm just like browsing eBay as you do. And I see a nice Blackwing core. And I'm like, oh, right, I can like just get this Blackwing core and then I can just play some Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff and get back and get in contact with people that I used to talk to with Yu-Gi-Oh! Around my locals and stuff. So I spend like an obscene amount of money on this fucking low rarity Blackwing.
Obscene.
And I have no concept of like what the meta is, what's relevant. And I think at this time as well, Dragon rules were at like full power, like except the babies, and I didn't even know they existed. Here's me picking up a bloody Blackwing core.
That's really strange. So we kind of started playing competitively at the same time as each other.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say like I'd even started playing competitively. Like I didn't have.
Because this is like late 2013 at this point, I think.
Yeah, it was late 2013. I didn't really have the. I didn't really think I could be competitive. I thought that was like a height that like I just couldn't reach, and it was like that for most things. I just accept that I'm not going to be as good as X, so I don't bother, and I just like get on with it. And like throughout the year in 2014, leading up to the Nationals, I just played a load of shite decks like Constellar, Evil Swarm, Light Sworn. I think I ended my first Shadow Realm locals that I can actually comprehend. with like this shit Raiden Lightsworn deck that I net decked off the OCG, but Raiden wasn't legal here, so I just took out the Raidens and just put in some random shit and then just played Ruler
Tellarknight
Sworn.
Alsam.
Yeah. I just lost like to obviously the Fire Fist at full power and Mermail and stuff, and I just didn't do very well. But like, and then I went to my first regional when I started to talk to the like players that actually knew the structure of the game. Like, so I went to a regional and were just like, oh, this is like somewhat of a big deal. I'm like, all right, okay. And I'm like, I've got all these shite decks on us, and I'm just like, which one should I play? And they're like, oh, play Evil Swarm. And this was like full power Fire Fist format and full power Mermail format. Well, I mean like Wolfbark format, so it was like +1 Fire Fist was considered the best deck or something.
Yeah.
And like I didn't do very well at that. I think I went 3-5 at Manchester Regionals, and I can't really remember what happened. And then like I just wasn't really good at decision making then, because like after there was a ban list where they put Wolfbark to 1, I bought full Fire Fist after that.
Right after the ban list.
Yeah, right after Wolfbark went to 1, because I was talking to my mates and I'm like, is this still viable? And I was just like, yeah, Wolfbark's still viable, yeah. I'm like, fucking hell. Because like I had no like concept of theory or anything like that. I just thought a deck was a deck, whatever. I didn't think it mattered. And then when it came to my first nationals in 2014, I think it was, I picked up. Everyone was hyping Geargear at my locals, so everyone was playing Geargear more or less, except like some few of them. But the ones that I hung out with were playing Geargear. So this guy sells me a Geargear deck for like super cheap, and then I figured, oh well, if this is like a quote unquote meta deck, I should play this instead. But bear in mind, for some reason, my technical play was dog shit. Like, I can't comprehend how fucking shit I was at this period of time. When I was drawing opening hands with Fire Fist, I was just like, oh my god, I don't know what my line of play is, and it was literally activate Tenki, search fucking bear. So it's just something stupid.
I mean, there wasn't really much to it, was there?
Yeah, I know, like, I would just stress because I just didn't know what to do. And then at this UK Nats, I played Geargear, not knowing how to OTK or any of the combos or shit like that. And I don't know, like, how to be... I didn't know how to be conservative with back row and just random shit. Like, you just... Because the way you play your deck, isn't it? You just set fucking armor and set your back row and then just slowly generate advantage until you can kill the fuckers when you trade with your back row. I was just fucking, like, going in and just making Gigant and going minus and shit and then just setting back row and then just losing. I ended up going, like, X5 or something daft. But I just kept on playing. Like, I don't know why I kept playing, but back then I just thought, oh, I might as well just keep playing. But these days, you know, if you go, like, X3 in an event, you just leave, right? Like, I just kept playing, I don't know why. And then after that UK Nats, I was just thinking, wow, I'm really shit. So I need to make somewhat of an attempt to, like, get good. So, like, I ended up talking to this guy who was, like, really big on Boojans. His name was Jason. I can't quite remember his last name. I think it was Nigan or something. And G-A-N, I don't know how to pronounce it. He sorted us out with this Boojan list, and we played Boojans, like, loads. And, like, this was like a big deal when we went to Shallow Realm tournaments, because like they used to generate like 60 plus people, so it was constantly 6 rounds, and it was like quite difficult to top because of like the amount of people there. And
was this a local?
Competent. Yeah.
Which one? Shadow Realm, did you see?
Yeah, it was like organised by Simon Dewhurst back in the day. If you remember who he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I entered with Boojans, and I managed to top that event, and for me this is like massive. I'm like, wow, what the fuck? I'm like fucking losing my mind because I've just topped this locals, and I don't realize how insignificant it is to like the game, but to me it just felt like fucking hell, I've did it. I've got my first top.
Yeah.
And then like, but I'm still shit at this point, but I'm just better than like the shit people there. Obviously I still did stupid shit because
I'm the best of the worst.
Yeah, in the top cut, like literally I'd won because I'd in time against the Bujin Mirror. I had Kagetsuchi, and he just goes mind control to take it and then attacks directly with Yamato. But I had a Forbidden Lance set, so I literally could have just went Forbidden Lance and I would have won, but I just didn't because I'm too retarded to check back row apparently.
So what was your first major event?
So leading up to that, so when the new Duelist Alliance set came out, this was when it was like a massive change, wasn't it? To the game.
Yeah.
And
Master Roll 3, yeah.
Just after hat format.
Yeah. And this is when I'm thinking, all right, I really want to like get better at this game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the best deck. So instead, I pick up Shaddoll. And then,
well, I mean, it wasn't your fault that you didn't know that at the time, I suppose.
Yeah. But I was under the impression that like Shaddoll was the nuts because it was proper hyped online and stuff, and people didn't realize Burning Abyss was as good as it was. But regardless, I entered my locals, the first where Shaddoll was locals, and I won that one. And I ended up, because I ripped a Shaddoll Fusion off the top against this Satellarknight player in time, and I just rinsed him. It's quite funny. So then I'm feeling really confident because like I have a locals win under my belt, and every locals tournament I ended, I topped it. So like I just felt really confident in myself. So leading up to YCS London, I start making friends with these two people, Joel and Mitch, and we're testing Shaddoll Artifact because they think it's the best version of Shaddoll. And we're pretty set on playing Shaddoll Artifacts at the event. And then Joel gives us this Sahabi list. And I'm just looking at this and I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. I'll alter this when I get the chance. But
that's crazy. You topped your first event you went to.
Yeah, it's mental, yeah. So, like, I didn't have a chance to change the list because Mitch decided to go last minute and I said I would sort him out a deck, so I tried to borrow a deck for him, and I just didn't have time to change the list, so I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll just enter with this deck. And I ended up topping with a completely net deck, which is so stupid.
I remember when I was doing deck profiles at that tournament, and Darren was one of the people, this was the first time I ever met Darren in my life. So I did a deck profile with him, and as he's going through the deck list, I'm just sitting there, because he's explaining it a lot. Because, it's his first top, so he's, like, super hyped, and he feels, like, really intelligent stuff explaining his deck list. And halfway through, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I could have sworn I've seen this list at the ARG, like, last weekend.
But yeah, it was just, I was just like, yeah, this deck's fucking class. And I was like, Sahabi's the world champ, hype. But, like, luck was on my side at that event, though, because of ignorance, because of how shit I was. Because the reason why I did so well at that event was because you know how Trapstone was really hyped at that event?
Right. Was it?
I thought this was a ruling for when you activated Sanctum and they chained Trapstone. You could chain MST or Artifact Ignition to target your own Sanctum, and then it would resolve off field.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was just being so stupid because I thought this was the ruling. And like,
wasn't that actually a thing at some point?
Well, people thought it resolved off field, but it doesn't because cards resolve where they're activated.
Right. Okay.
So like, Trapstone still trapstones the Sanctum, but like, I didn't know it didn't. My opponent didn't know they're doing, and this happened like quite a few games, and I was just going mega plus of it. So they have a dead Trapstone, and I'm just summoning fucking big L attack and then popping a Marrow attack, then popping a monster, and then next turn I just overlay it to a Pleiades and something stupid like that. And then in top 6, and then my mate tells us the ruling around round 10, you can't do that, and I'm like, what? So naturally I stop, but luckily I end up getting like fucking Karakuri and Spellbook round 10 and 11, so they were easy, and then I just topped the event. Nice. I end up playing Barbary as well in top 16, the eventual winner, and he just beats me because he's playing some fucking guy who doesn't have a clue what's going on, so I just eventually lose to someone who actually has good technical play.
Top 16? Yeah. I thought you only got top 32 there, but yeah, that's pretty good.
Nah, London, I got top 16. In the top 32 match, the guy got fucking a game loss for having cards as tokens in his deck, so I felt like that was like the luckiest tournament of my life.
Yeah.
beats his game 1, get a deck check, and then he gets fucking a game a game lost for these stupid tokens, and then I beat him with Super Poly. I'm just like, woohoo!
You know, in recent years, when you complain about your events and you're like, "Oh, I lost to this fucking idiot. He didn't even know this and he did that." It's like, well, that was you at this event. Like, you're that guy who just like sacked his way to the top.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Like everybody gets their day. It's a card game at the end of the day. Like everyone will get one if you play enough. I was just lucky that it happened to be my first one.
What was your not really next event, but like the sort of like next major landmark in terms of events?
So just skipping through the rambling. So come like next challenges, I still play Shaddoll because I felt like some sort of loyalty to Shaddoll. I never really thought I could like change to a better deck. I just thought, oh, I'm sticking with Shaddoll. This is my fucking signature boys or whatever. Ended up winning a Stockton regional, my first regional win and stuff.
How are you improving your
and then
technical play at this
Necros-
point? Because it doesn't sound like you're surrounded by many like good players or anything.
Yeah, I wasn't quite close to Danny and Alistair yet, which was like the changing point for when my deck theory started to improve, because I hadn't started talking to them like yet at all. Even though they were at my locals, they just really kept to themselves. But they knew who I was, because Alistair used to get so fucking wound up whenever I beat him at an event and stuff, because obviously I was seen at the locals as someone who was fucking terrible. So when I beat Alistair at an event, who considered himself one of the better players, you would just get so wound up. But yeah, this is when like big massive change for me in terms of like deck theory was when Necros came out. Like having to like be on top in the mirror and that, and like technical play was really important with how the mirror worked and stuff.
I think that's
So
a
I
good deck
decided
to teach people like management and technical play and just understanding of the game. Like,
Yeah, it was just so interesting because of the rules that you had to follow and stuff, and like since like this is when I started like testing with like Danny and Alistair and stuff, and helping us improve my technical play and stuff, because I was losing to them like quite often in like when we were testing, but since their gameplay was borderline perfect, whenever I played someone at an event, they weren't as good, but I was playing against people who play perfect technical players, so I was capitalizing on all their mistakes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it really helped us like push in that format, because I didn't go to many like majors, but like because I didn't really feel like I had access to stuff like that, but like in a regional level I was doing well in those are regionals. Like I came 8th at Manchester, 7th in a Newcastle one, and 2nd in another Newcastle. But what really like developed my relationship with Danny was when I went to YCS Bochum. So that opened up my horizons to like going to European events, because Jack and Luke asked us to come. And like
I think I was living in Germany at the time when I met you at that event briefly.
Yeah, you just rocked up as the Talon Knight or something, didn't you?
Yeah, Talon Knights.
Like, woohoo!
The first time I met Darren was at that Newcastle regional he just mentioned. During
Yeah,
Necros
I did.
format.
Like I thought you were shit, because you were doing such weird things I wasn't used to in the Necros mirror. You were like,
Oh, the clearing his field.
You had 4 set at some point, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
What were your sets?
I don't know. It's because like I think it was game 3. My only play was like summon Gungnir, but then I set the rest of my hand and kept 1 in hand, so I couldn't be trished. I think it confused Darren. I think he thought they were real back row. But I'd drawn lots of mirrors, and I wanted to only have 1 card in my hand so I could stop myself from being trished.
Okay.
Yeah, I was so confused. Like I felt so far ahead. Then I just lost, and I'm just like, I couldn't comprehend how I lost that game.
Oh, the John beat you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I won that regional, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was the regional that you won, but like lost in top 8 or something. Even though regionals don't have like.
There was no top cut, bro. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Okay.
Well,
Regionals don't do top cut according to Konami.
So anyway, YCS Bochum 2015.
yeah. So I'm testing online with Jack, Igo, and Ruben, and Ruben's playing this like mathematician tech thing, and I'm like, that's really cool. Because like one of the problems in Necros was going first, right, in the mirror, or being made to go first in general. Whereas with Mathematician, sends Globe Bulb, makes Herald, and going first, you can just sit on Herald Pass and they can't kill you through it because the stuff gets banished, and you could play around it by normal on a Jew and not activating its effect and attack.
Didn't Holben
but, like,
popularize that?
just normal Jew. You what, sorry?
Didn't Holben popularize that?
Yeah, he did it at Nationals, but like...
Oh, so
Duncan
you're
was
playing this
before.
before the hits. So this was like Duncan was
Yeah.
playing it, right, Jordan?
Yeah, Duncan played it at the Newcastle Regional that I just spoke about, where I first met Darren. When we had 3 Brio and 3 Prep, Duncan was playing it.
Yeah, like I didn't... Like, I was playing it, but like I never did well with it, so like I couldn't really put my face on it, but yeah, like I was saying, like I really like this Mathematician idea, because it was also on Out to the Gin as well, because you played Para Cerberus. I
Fucking
think
hell.
you played some. No, you played Bulb and Para, so it was an engine card, so it was like a Jew, and it was also an Out to the Gin. So I'm starting to get a fair concept of theory as I'm on the phone to Danny every day, because he wants us to do well at this event, since he can't go himself, so he wants me to do well. So he wants to do well through me, basically. And I just asked him the question, like, how do you deck build? Like, is there like a rule that you follow? Because I just haven't a fucking clue. And he just said, basically, he just said like, you just do stuff like you max out on engine cards, and when you max out on engine cards, you determine like what cards are the best in your deck, what your starter cards, and you think about extenders, and just stuff like that, and then have stuff in the main that like you could potentially need that's format demand. It's a demand for the format and stuff, and so yeah. And then I went to that event, and like my gameplay was still shocking though. Like I played this Light Swarm player, and I forgot to Veiler his Emerald, and if I Veilered it, he would have decked out. And I did something really stupid as well. Like I played this German guy, and he had a Shekanaga and a Construct on the field, and I'm just like, right, shit. He was on less than 800 life points, but I couldn't make Cowboy because you just negate it with Shekanaga. So I thought, oh, I'm proper big brain here. I'll just summon Unicorn, and then summon Cowboy, so that when my Cowboy will resolve because his Unicorn is negating the Shekanaga. And I'm just thinking this is a fucking sound play. And it goes through as well. He scoops in it, and I'm just thinking, yes. But I didn't realise that was completely retarded until a good month afterwards, when I like looked back in it. I'm just like, hang on. I couldn't do that. That was stupid.
So you cowboyed him under Unicorn by negating the Unicorn with check?
No,
There was a Unicorn on the field when I attempted to activate Cowboy for game.
Oh, right, and you just let
So
it
it would
through.
have resolved without effect. It would have been negated. But
Yeah.
I was doing that to player on Shekanaga, because I thought I was negating his Shekanaga to let my Cowboy go through. My Unicorn was actually negating my Cowboy
Jesus.
as well.
I'm sure I've seen that like on an ARG. That 100% happened on an ARG stream as well. The guy got banned for it, quite funnily enough, actually. Didn't remember that. No.
A load of people were making mistakes on the Unicorn as well. Like at locals, I was in like a final against somebody, and like in time, this guy tries to excite night my board, and I'm just like, right, okay, 1, you can't do that because I have a Unicorn, and 2, you're in time, so I win because you can't take any battle damage, you fucking mong.
All right. So we're at 23 minutes. So I usually like to do the history thing for like 30 minutes, and then the rest on like deck building and theory. So is there any like landmark events that you want to mention as well for the next 7 minutes? So
7 minutes, shit. So I guess I'll just be quick then. So for the Euros thing, so I topped that because Danny gave us the Lancia tech.
is that like where
But then
you stack it with your deck and then draw it or something?
Yeah. And then I have a year hiatus with my teaching course thing, so I don't play for a while. And then
How was that? Like, did you actually like go on a break like properly? Because I just feel like you just can't like take a break when you're like really into it, especially at this point when you must be like on a big high and stuff because you've just topped like Euros of all events.
yeah, like it was just the teaching course was so demanding. I tried to do YCS Lille, but then they cancelled it. Then after that, I just like lost motivation because I was like going home from teaching and trying to test and stuff, and but then when the event got cancelled, it was just like, well, I've just spent so much time in testing for an event and it's just been cancelled.
Did you
Like,
not?
literally
I mean, you
don't
were
have
booked
time
and
to do
stuff.
that
Did you
yet.
go to the CCG?
No, we were gonna drive, so I didn't lose any money out on it or anything.
Oh, okay. Did you
But
not
yeah,
think to go to the
so I had
CCG
that
event?
year out, and then I come back and I play UK Nationals. I really wanted to play Pendulum, but since I trusted Danny with like decision making, and he said to play BA, so I played BA. Stupid idea, since it just lost the fucking Flying Sea and Majesty Fiend and the whole Monarch engine, and like.
What happened at that event, Darren?
Yeah, so I was on the bubble, and I really didn't want to bubble another. I really didn't want to bubble another nationals because I bubbled the Necros ones, kind of, and I just got so pissed off, and so it was like he was 1-0 up in time, and when it went in time, it was just like a draw wasn't good enough to top because I think I was X3 or something. So I said to him, "Do you want to roll for the win?" And he goes. I'm not sure. So I just roll the dice. So he just rolls the dice, sorry, and he gets a 5, and I roll the dice and get a 6. So we agree that it's game 3, and the judge comes over and says it's game.
Why would
what
you
game
roll
is
in that scenario? Like, why would he roll rather? It's like win-win for him, is it not? Well, it's not
Yeah,
really.
exactly. Like he should have said no, but since I was out the tournament anyway, I thought, well, I should just ask, you know. But anyways, yeah. So that whole thing happened. I got DQ'd, and then I shit myself because I think I'm gonna get banned. But then my mates are talking about how there's a YCS in America, and then Danny comes up with this like BA Monarch idea, and we're working on a list, and we're just like, this list is really, really good. Like, this is a significant edge to pay like loads of money to go to America, and I felt like he was right in that sense because the deck did seem so good in comparison to all decks in the format.
So this Tom Payne's BA Monarch deck.
No,
Yeah,
hang on, talk about
absolutely.
your ban for a little bit as well, because that's really like big and like relevant. So like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got
definitely.
you
So,
got
like-
banned for offering to roll.
He wasn't banned yet.
Oh,
So if you want more info about my BA Monarch deck, that's on YouTube somewhere. So I won't go into that, but just to save time in this video. So after that event, I topped it.
which was completely random, by the way, because like we're watching the stream from like home, and like we randomly see Darren in top 16 of YCS Columbus. It's like YCS Origins or something, and he's like on the stream playing like BA Monarch. It was just so bizarre. Like, oh, Darren's over there, and he's top. So like, nice.
Yeah, because when you like, oh fuck, there's a BA Monarch player, that's weird, and they're like, oh fuck, it's Darren.
Yeah.
I imagine that would have been funny. But yeah, so like literally like 2 weeks after that event, I find out I'm suspended from organised play on my birthday. So I find out on the 1st of July that I'm banned for a year. And this got me really depressed. Like, I was absolutely distraught. Like, I wouldn't wish it on anybody being banned from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's terrible. It's not only do like people just take the piss out of you, it just feels so awful. Obviously, like, it was deserving because, like, I broke the rules, right? But it just felt so excessive for what I did. So I appealed it. And a month later, I'd given up on the game completely. I was like, ready to just not play anymore because I think a year is just a bit much. But they got back to us a month later. And they reduced my sentence to 6 months.
My sentence.
And yeah, and I found new life then. Like, honestly, like, I was so relieved, and I was just thinking, oh my god, I can actually play this game again, the game that I actually really love. And I was just so happy, like, honestly. And
I think it's quite cool that
this...
you've like openly admitting to stuff like you basically tried to like ID or whatever or get roll and stuff like cheating technically whatever against the rules, but like you served your time or whatever and you came back and it's kind of like
and like at the end of the day I broke the rules, so I'm not like saying they shouldn't have banned us. I just thought a year ban for something like that's legal in other card games was just a bit excessive, but those are the rules, and I was banned for 6 months, just justifiably so. But during my 6 month period, I didn't take a hiatus from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, because Anthony also, he like reached out to me and said, look, I just the current testing circle that I have, I don't think is really getting us anywhere, and like I would really appreciate some sort of advice from you so I can improve myself as a player. So I start testing with him to help him, like, because he's got YCS Liverpool was coming up, so I start testing with him to help him do it at the event. And I come up with this DDD deck, which is quite funny, because I was just fiddling around with it because DDD was around about the time I would get unbanned, so I was just fiddling around with DDD with Lamina, and I was just thinking, I wonder if this deck is good without Lamina. And I see Chris Morrell on our like sitting room floor playing around with beer DDD, and I'm just like, oh, this is cool. And then I start doing combos, and I make Beatrice M7 stack, send Maxi to grave, and add it back to hand pass. I'm just like, what the hell? This is really good. And then I start playing around with the DDD engine without the BA engine, sorry. And I could still do that with the DDDs. I'm just like, oh my god, I can search in the game, my Maxi. This is in the format that it was in. It wasn't good because it was just an ABC format. So I started fiddling around with the combo to adapt it to the meta. Anthony suggested playing Dragulis instead of M7, and Dragulis is insane. Like, if you bricked in DDD, you can literally go Dragulis pass, and people just lose their minds because it's a wall of text and they just don't know what to do, and they just turn autistic and they just go crazy. They just don't know what they're doing. And then Danny suggested to play Zephyros, so you can send Zephyros with Beatrice, so you can make Evil Swarm Nightmare. So in this DDD deck, I was playing DDD with Malicious and Greffa. So you can for the Mali and Greffa engine, it helped you make the rank 6s. So you ended on Beatrice, which sent Zephyros or any of your DDDs, depending on what your hand was.
This was the exact deck that Duncan played as well, right?
Yeah, he was playing like the Fiends and stuff as well, though. He was like playing Floodgates. Like, I was playing Mass Change 2, so I was playing Mass Change 2 as well, so it meant that you can either end on a Dark Claw or use Dark Claw as a level 6 to extend your combos, so it was like a pseudo engine card. It also ditched any unwanted DDDs in your hand and grave as well, so your typical board was Beatrice, Dragulis, number 38, and Evil Swarm Nightmare, and sometimes Dark Claw was there, which is really cool. And it's just a shame that Anthony didn't top that event because he went X2. You did his profile, didn't you?
Yeah, I profiled and bubbled DDD list, which was like completely random as fuck since it was
not
like
even
ABC
a bubble.
format.
That's a literal top X2 basically.
Yeah, it was just such a shame that his tiebreakers were awful. Like, he was the worst X2 as well, and I really think he would have won that event if he topped because his deck was that good. And he played DDD to death as well. Like, he really, really deserved the top. It's such a shame.
Alright, well, I guess that's most of your events, unless there's something you really, really want to bring up.
Still 3 more tops.
Yeah, I've got 2 more after that, mate.
I mean, you can spend more time talking about those if you want, but like, you know, like when people start getting into like 5, 6, 7 tops, it's like hard to fit into like an hour. But like, if you feel like there's something really important there, that, you know, that's fine. Because I did want to get into like deck building and stuff like that.
Just talk about it.
I really understand. Like, I'll just wrap it up then. So when I get on band, the first event I say I want to go to is the next first event when I get on band, and of course the first event had to be in fucking Australia, didn't it? So I ended up flying to Australia. I wanted to prove a point that, like, since I was on band for a while, I wanted to establish myself again, but that ended up putting more pressure on myself. So I go to America. Danny quit, so I've lost my primary testing partner who helped us with deck building and stuff. So I just feel really lost, and so for all that period of time, I'm just trying to like reach out to people to help us with deck lists. I really want to play Paleo, but Paleo left a bad taste in my mouth in Australia as well. And
what did you play in Australia?
Fusion stuff. Sorry?
What did you play in Australia?
Paleo.
Right.
That was
What? Darren? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello?
Stream went off.
Sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
Fuck, got DC'd. Shit. What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, stream went down, I think.
I'll see if it comes back up. We're still recording, so you can keep going.
alright, sure. I'll just wrap up this, like, because during Zoo format, like, I was ignorant of gameplay. I thought Fury would just get me there because in the past 2
Zero
events
rat.
it did just get me there. You're a rat. And,
Zero rat.
You're
Oh,
a
yeah,
rat.
no, Zero Rat, you fucking mong.
Yeah, I know. I played Zero Rat Rimini. There wasn't anything wrong with that.
Yeah, there was.
Sure there wasn't.
Whatever. But anyways, skip through Zoo format. Like skipping past Zoo format, I feel like who I surrounded myself with wasn't really helping us progress in the game. Because like I feel like Danny's like a really
Sorry,
good player.
one sec. Just stop for a second, just in case that's actually not working. It's kind of like freezing right now. Let me just double check. This is so annoying.
Fusion sub combo broke the stream.
I think I'm online just now. Let me check. Okay, yeah, it should be coming up in a sec. All right, yeah, keep going.
All right, yeah, I'm just saying that like the environment I was in with my locals and that, and like testing with Danny. Like Danny's a really good player and all that, but like testing with him felt so stressful because he was always so serious. Like Yu-Gi-Oh was never fun. Testing with him, it was always like we need to get a result, or it was a complete waste of time. Whereas like whenever I test with yous, like I just have fun because it's a laugh, isn't it? Like I really like being here and stuff, and I feel like my Yu-Gi-Oh has just improved and my mentality has just improved because I'm just enjoying myself, and I think that like that reflected on like this upcoming past 2 events that have happened with YCS London and YCS Prague and stuff. Like I just thought to myself, oh, it doesn't matter about every single individual card. Like you want to play this game to have fun at the end of the day, and if you're stressed out about the format, then you're just not going to do well. Like I was testing like anti-spiral to death before London, and then me and Luke were just like, yeah, we should just play spiral. It'll just be stupid not play spiral. It's too powerful. And since I played a load of anti-beat spiral decks, like I knew how to play against spiral, but I had spiral. So I was playing with the best deck against the best deck. So I ended up doing really well at that event as well. But the top 16 curse kicked in again because I was just an idiot again. I got scared of Gamma, so I sided up my draws for an evenly matched, and then I had evenly matched him opening hand. But if that was a draw, I would have killed him because he had no hand traps. But since it was an evenly matched, which I couldn't even resolve because he had set rotation, I just got rinsed.
Oh.
And then Prague. Just played Trickstar and then broke my top 16 curse in the worst way possible by getting top 32.
That doesn't break it, surely.
So
Fuck
you
Well, it doesn't, does it? I mean, it doesn't break it. You
I surely like the curse is even worse now.
No! Broke the curse!
All right, so moving on. You said that you were completely really like horrible and shit at the game, and like your first top was like really lucky and that. What were the main things you were doing wrong?
Disregarding gameplay, like, because you see like all these people that constantly do well, like it happens for a reason, right? It's because they're constantly playing all the time and they put themselves in so many different situations and interactions that they just know how to react in certain game states, and I just wasn't doing that. I had no interest in playing online. I didn't really enjoy playing at all, so I avoided playing. So when I went to events,
What? You didn't enjoy playing?
No, I enjoy talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I love talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. I love like theory in Yu-Gi-Oh, and like talking about formats. But back then, actually playing just felt stressful. It felt like work. Whereas like I enjoy it more now because we can just see the funny side of things, and then just test and just enjoy it because it's just a laugh.
Darren?
That was cute.
I'm still here.
Oh. Okay, so gameplay, I guess, was your biggest issue. How did you fix it?
You just play more games. Like anyone can do it. Like it doesn't take a genius to know how to move cardboard around on a table. Like you just get the games in. Like anyone can do it. Like you just find someone who's willing to be be as committed as you are to gameplay, and then you can like reflect upon your games by playing with each other, and it helps to have a big group as well, just to discuss things and discuss theory and individual cards and stuff, because it helps you come to a conclusion. Whereas if you're by yourself, like in that period when I was in America, where I isolated myself and I had no one to talk to about Yu-Gi-Oh, I just wasn't confident enough to make decisions. Whereas if you like talk to someone about it, you can get the reassurance that the decision that you're making is correct. Because if someone comes to the same conclusion, then like it just helps.
Yeah. A lot of people I think would test and like test for hours and like practice for hours and like still do shit. Like, why do you think that is? Like, because I think there's like I bring up like an example of Duncan. Like, for example, like he tests and practices a lot, but he never does well at events. And I personally feel it's because he doesn't allocate like his time resource correctly. Like he's not he's testing, but he's not like testing, if you know what I mean. It's like there's
I'm not sure, cause I've never like tested with Duncan before, and we've never like reflected on like what his card choices were. Like he played something really crap at London, didn't he? He played like Invoked, and then he lost the like Helium round 1, and it's just like, what are you doing playing a deck like Invoked when Spiral's a deck? Like, you know what I mean?
I think
that was a money issue.
For him, it's just these poor deck choices. And even though he had the winning deck list for Prague, he hadn't played it at all, so he just kept on making errors. And he needs to find balance, because if he has the gameplay in his pocket but he doesn't have the deck, then he's not going to perform well, because the best deck's the best deck for a reason. And when he had the best deck, he didn't have the gameplay to boot, so he just didn't do very well.
I just think that there's a degree of like mismanaging resources of time where it's like you play for so long, but like if you're not absorbing that much from it, like for example in Hoban's book he says like I think he puts a certain number on it, like 40 hours or something to fully like master a deck, and then anything after that you're like
Just full-time work.
Well, like total gameplay hours, like 40 hours to like master a deck, and then anything after that is like diminishing returns. Like you only benefit, so the amount of time you would benefit by improving your technical play, you'd be better off putting into like theory or something else, because it comes a certain point after playing a deck where it's just not like you won't.
Yeah, I think that does hold some weight, because like I still don't grind Duel and Book to death. However, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you enjoy playing, then you can just keep playing. I don't think you can like. I don't think you can play enough games. Like you can't play. Trying to get my words out here. I don't think there's a number where it'll be too many games. But like there could be a number where it's and enough games. Sorry, I can't get my words out.
Yeah.
Like you can play enough, but you can never play too much, I think. Because like I think every bit of testing will help, because you can come across a game state that you would have never have came across before, and you'll feel like that's progress, because you're like, oh, it's good that I've played all these numbers of games, because otherwise I wouldn't have known about that, and if that comes up in an event, then you feel better off for it.
Yeah.
Like something as simple as for the Spiral deck in London, like Luke showed us one of the FTKs, and it was just like, oh. And it was something so simple like decode, sleeper, and agent, and like.
Oh, is that the last resort thing?
And just no one was doing that, or even like ODK like in that manner, and people weren't using their hand traps effectively and stuff. It was just a mess.
Yep.
Spiral mirrors were just so weird because people were just like being really squiffy.
Yeah, they'd like try to resolve machine dupe after they pop your monster, right?
Big brain machine dupe.
How do you deck build? How do you know when it's bad to play a card? How do you know when it's good to play cards? Well, maybe not so much the specifics first of all, but like you've mentioned a few times now that you like pick decks based on like their power, but also like how good they are versus the meta and stuff. Like, how do you like come to that conclusion? Like you said, for example, oh yes, like Spiral was just like the best deck, but like at which point do you choose it, and at which point do you think, oh, let's try build against it, kind of thing?
So at London, I was trying to play anti-Spiral because I didn't think the mirror was fair. If people have perfect gameplay, it just felt like whoever went first won because of the stupid board. which forced everyone to play the hand traps. So I was playing a load of anti-spiral, like Trickstar and Invoked and stuff. But Spiral was just so powerful. So like you've got to like be open-minded. Like I wouldn't just concede to playing Spiral. Like I tried to see if something could beat Spiral. And then when I found that Spiral was just that good, I just thought, well, I'll just play Spiral. And then since it was like an undefined meta, I guess, because it was like the first European event with Spiral, you can just play the best deck, and then not everyone will know how to play it because it's not established. People won't know how to deck build either, and people won't know how to play against like certain decks and stuff. So I think it was okay to play Spiral at that event and just have better technical play. So you didn't really need an edge, I felt. Whereas in Prague, going second Spiral was quite established. And I did not feel comfortable going second with Spiral at all. Especially with like Pendulum going first and Trickstar going with, just in general going first. And then when you play the mirror, if they make you start, then that's awful. And you just felt like you had no edge. And it's situations like that where I thought, well, I have to go second against all the non-Spiral builds, and then I could potentially go first against a Spiral build. So you're winning every dice roll against decks that want to go first, but they're winning every dice roll as well. And against Spiral, it's a 50-50. So I didn't feel comfortable with Spiral at that event, so that's why I decided to play something like Trickstar. Because whenever you play Spiral, they're going to win the dice roll, but you're also going to win the dice roll as well. And you're playing Spiral's worst matchup as well, which you're playing a shit ton of defensive cards. And if you optimize, like the deck isn't powerful, but if you can optimize your plays by making sufficient trades and hitting like important engine cards against Spiral, then you're going to beat them. And that's why I thought Trickstar was a better choice for that event.
You were wrong.
You're a poo. Like, I think like if I wanted to win the event, I should have played Spiral. But just leading up to that point, I felt more comfortable playing Trickstar. And I guess playing Trickstar conceded that I wouldn't win the event. But you've got to... I think anything can win an event. Like, the best deck net doesn't always win the event. But you've just got to put your ticket in the raffle, haven't you?
What's been the best format for you, and why? And what made it a good format?
For me, it was probably the Necros format. Because it was the first time where I got like a true taste of what the best deck is, and a tier 0 format as well. So I got to play a load of mirrors, and there was no diversity either. So it felt like everyone was on an equal playing field. And like if you decided to play anti-Necros, you were just wrong. You were just stupid. You just beat all them with the exception of Mistake and stuff. And so it was the most enjoyable because you were playing the best deck, and it felt like the better player usually always won the mirror, unless like people would just be Timmies and just do Jin shit. But the Jin stuff like phased in and out of the format, so it's quite weird Necros, because like Necros could adapt to what the format demanded, which was really weird. Like for Euros, like everybody proper went off Jin, but a couple of formats before that, everyone was doing like scolding Jin locks and stuff. So it was really cool that the format changed so much, even though the card pool stayed the same for the most part, which is really cool. And then just being able to evolve the mirror match by stacking Lancia as well, making it so I can hold the board and my opponent couldn't, just made us appreciate how good Fury was important. And also just playing standard Necros mirror matches before Lancia as well made us also appreciate technical play. And it was really important to resource manage as well, because you only have 6 mirrors outside of prep and recycling Unicore. So you have to be really efficient with like how you use your summons, when you do and don't clear your board, when you can kill them and stuff. Just felt like a really cool format, and like it was definitely my favorite. My second favorite probably being Zudia.
What was your most hated format, and what made it a bad format?
Probably 2016 when Monarch was the best deck. Outside of the format, it was because I was teaching and stuff, and I didn't really put the time into the format to actually appreciate it. Because like these days, like everyone will complain about Spiral format, but like since I've played every single deck and like I've did well at 2 events, I've loved the formats. Whereas in 2016, I hated Monarch because it was an inconsistent piece of shit. I hated BA because it couldn't beat Monarch. I didn't like Pendulum. Well, I did like Pendulum, but I just got annoyed when I lost to Cosmo. And Cosmo was a piece of shit as well. So outside of Burning Abyss Monarch, it just felt like there was no logical choice to play. I just ended up hating 2016.
And PK Fire was okay against the Monarch.
Yeah, it was just okay. But like if Monarch went off, you were just like, oh. But that's the case in like no matter what you're playing.
I feel like Monarch was the case. I feel like Monarch was just that was the case with Monarch against every deck though. Like if Monarch was able to establish momentum,
it was frustrating though because you would feel annoyed that Monarch was going off against you because it was inconsistent. So you just think, oh, I'm just unlucky because this dickhead's got to go off a Monarch even though it's bricks. So it just didn't feel very pleasant. And when the best decks like that, it does feel frustrating. It's like somebody drawing a 1-of against you. Whereas if like the best deck was nice and consistent like Necros and Zoo, then both people get to play. And if you play Monarch mirror matches where one person's bricked and another person hasn't, then I just
apparently the Monarch mirror was good if both people didn't brick, but that's like a big
yeah. I can appreciate that, and that's absolutely fine. But unfortunately, an element of Monarch was that it did brick.
Yeah.
And that's what was frustrating about it.
I just think that like that
like if you can mulligan in Monarch format, that'd be class.
Yeah. I just think that like the difference between say like that format or like the 2016 year as opposed to like the Spiral, like the year with Spiral is that like Spiral is just too powerful, and then like every deck in 2016 was kind of like you just pick the one you thought was the least shit. So it's basically
That was the problem with 2016.
Yeah, but like it's two evils essentially.
The whole year was shit, to be honest, because after Euros we had ABC Metal 4 Paleo format, and then it was just like fuck it. ABC goes first. It's like woohoo, out my buster, dickhead.
I mean, that's only 55% chance, but
so for the game itself, mechanically and how the game functions and stuff, what would you change, and for what? So, for example, like
sorry, my phone dropped. What do you say?
In terms of how the game functions and how it works, what would you change? What do you think are some of like the good aspects of how the game works, and what do you think are things that need to be taken out of the game or maybe banned, maybe like specific cards? But mechanically speaking, what are some things that you would change about the game? Like, for example, more extra deck slots or
the game itself,
board wipes or something like that.
The game itself, I love it. I just accept whatever the ban list is. Obviously, it is a shame that like things are one-ofs like Regeki and stuff, and it is really annoying when things like that happen where you get Regeki'd at an event and you just think, oh, of course you had the one-off. But unfortunately, that's like a business decision that the company needs to make the deck varied for the more casual players, and I've just accepted that, and there's no point complaining about that because it's not going to change. But if it is something that I would want, if it's a question if it was something that I'd want to change, that's of course something I would change. But it's just part of the game, and I don't really care. Extra deck, I think it's good that it's 15 because it means you have to be more conservative about your choices of what you have in your extra deck. Whereas if it was like more open, you would just whack anything in. Whereas like having to pick your best 40 or your best 15, it just makes deck building more important as well. I just love the game the way it is. I wouldn't want to change it. Like I think if you commit to just like accepting how the format is, playing every deck that's relevant and trying it in loads of like different scenarios and stuff, and if you just have an open mind, you'll enjoy every format. And I know that's rich, me saying that I just fucking hated 2016, but that's because I had a closed mind. Whereas if I had a more open mind, I probably would have enjoyed it a bit more.
Yeah. All right. Let's do some questions and anything specific to Darren or something that you guys want to ask or put forward or throw out, and do so in the chat. Anything at all from like what he's been through, or from just generic like thoughts on like different cards and stuff like that, and thoughts on formats, whatever it may be. In the meantime, what's been like your favorite card, or like cards?
Oh, favorite card. Beatrice is probably my favorite card.
Fucking hell. Did you even play BA like ever? Well, actually, yeah, you played it
BA
once.
Monarch.
And the DVD
like-
list.
Cards.
It was a big part of like the decks that like I made, like Bay Monarch and DDD. It was like a centerpiece. So like, I just love Beatrice. Really like Necros the Unicorn too. He's a lad.
He's a lad. Are you fucking
The
trolling?
Darrin
That card is
card.
horrible. Like,
That card is amazing.
That
It
card
sure
is
is.
amazing. It's the perfect Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's a floodgate. It's an engine card. It's a level 4, and it recycles your engine. It's literally perfect.
fucking hell. Like,
Just because you didn't play Necros.
no, that's not the point. Like, I don't see how anyone can look at that card and be like, oh, that's good for the game. But anyway, this isn't about me. Like, whatever. Necros of Unicorn.
I said Beatrice first, but you said cards.
Yeah, okay.
So I had to
fine,
whack
fine.
another one.
Okay, Beatrice is fair enough. Is Teus Dragoon's a good hand, or is it a brick? Anthony's asking. What's the story behind this?
I don't know who that is, but it's because
It's Anthony.
Is it? What a
Yeah.
cunt. It's because in 2014 when I was shit, somebody gave me a mermail deck to draw hands with, and I drew an opening hand. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, "What the fuck? This is a brick."
You had Teus Dragoons. Fuck it up.
I'm bricked. What do I do? It tasted good. It was broken.
All right.
You know, just from Mong. Just can't believe how fucking stupid I was. It was so funny.
Let's see. We've got about 4 minutes, so let's try fire through as many of these as possible. Yeah, there's quite a few here. Let's see.
What team are you on, Darren?
What's the? No.
No,
No, I'm not giving that guy any sort of promotion whatsoever. What's what's the worst misplay that you can remember?
Ooh, I've done quite a few. But if we're talking on an
Farfa Terror Top.
if we're talking on a more like competitive scale, two most stupidest misplays I've ever made. The first one was Euros top 16, where I play against a Burn Abyss player and I'm playing Necros. He goes T-set pass. And for some reason I thought, oh, Gungnir, roll the crease, fucking blowout, when all I needed to do was make Dweller and I just won. For some reason that just didn't cross my mind. Because I was on stream as well, so I was proper tilted and I was trying to play around Mind Crush and I didn't want to get blown around by Mind Crush and look proper stupid on stream. But instead I just looked proper stupid on stream.
So what did you end up doing?
I ended up just making Gungnir and then
Against
he
BA?
flipped Fiend Griffin, and he managed to like protect his life points, and then he made Mech Equipped Engineer and Dante the player on my Valk because I had a Jew in the field as well. So he ended up attacking over my Jew because I couldn't Valk it because he had Mech Equipped Engineer. So he ended up higher on life than me.
Oh, okay.
Whereas if I just made Dweller, I would have won. Happens.
How many
And
times?
the other one, obviously, which Jordan mentioned when I fought for the Terror Top on stream randomly, when I was playing BMR in top 16. I still, to this day, have no idea why I never did that.
Yeah. So Terror Top, and then you Beatrice Farfa away the Terror Top instead of waiting for him to just special attack Tomborg.
Honestly, I just don't know why I did that.
Okay. How many times have judges given out false rulings in your experience?
Never.
Oh.
I think there was no.
Okay.
Like, because like I know the rulings, so if a judge said something stupid, I would appeal it, and then the head judge would be competent enough to say that it's obviously right.
Okay.
I don't think there was an instance where like something's went against us as a ruling.
Any advice for people who can't afford the best deck?
It's a difficult one, that, because, like, especially with, like, Ash Blossom being so much money.
Yeah. The best deck isn't, like, the problem. It's the fucking staples of
Yeah.
Gamma and Ash.
Like,
evenly.
You can play this game without money. You've just got to develop, like, good connections. Like, I know people...
Christoph.
Yeah, you can just borrow something. Like, there's nothing wrong with borrowing cards. Like, I never used to do it, but I do it now thanks to my mate Jacob. And he lends me everything. But, like, I could afford to buy them, but, like, well, I can't these days, but I used to be able to just buy them all. And I just accepted that was the way the game was. But if you can't afford them, then, like, you just have to accept that you can't play Ash Blossoms, mate. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Except you're probably not going to top any events. So
Just practice a lot online, I'd say. And when you're certain on your list, like, obviously you need to practice faster, in theory faster, but when you're certain on your list for an event like 2-3 weeks beforehand, then you can start looking at the people to borrow. Unless
Yeah, what I did
got,
for
like,
London, I couldn't afford Ash Blossoms and shit. So I went into my overdraft and bought Spiral because I wanted to play the best deck for a YCS. I just wouldn't not do that because I want to win the event. And then my logic was, straight after the event, I'm just going to sell everything. So it's kind of like I'm loaning a deck. But then I just didn't end up selling everything because since I did well, I was just like, I want to keep them.
they also gave us a ban list on that Monday. That probably impacted your
Yeah,
ability
that
to
didn't
sell
help
it.
too.
Thoughts on Master Rule 4?
To be fair, it didn't like change the best deck though. So
Just changes the value of it.
no, I mean Spiral went down a little.
Double
Very-
helix and
like,
took.
Helix halved.
We're firing
Yeah.
through questions, boys. We're trying to get through as many as possible. Thoughts on Master
Dan.
Rule 4?
I love it.
Alright, calm down.
It just.
I thought you were going to say something like, it's alright. Fucking hell. Love it, okay.
I just like when they do something different because I love Pendulum as well. I love XYZs. It just
Didn't you
adds a
quit
fresh
because of
new element.
XYZs?
You what? Sorry.
You said earlier you hated XYZs, bro.
Yeah. That's when I was a Timmy who didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh, fucking Utopia, what the fuck? But when I started playing again, like, I love XYZs. But yeah, in regards to the links, I do love links. Like, obviously, you can do some stupid, like, FDKs and that, but, like, nobody plays FDK decks. There was FDK decks before links, there's just more of them now. But they're still an inconsistent piece of shit. And it's just cool, like, it provides, like, a cool element to the game. It makes Pendulum really, really fun as well, because, like, problem with Pendulum before Master Rule 4 is you can just Pendulum 5 and just go woohoo! But now you have to, like, do a setup, like, especially with Electromite coming out, makes it even cool as well. You got to set up a link and then you can Pendulum after. It just seems cool. And I thought it was going to make the game slower, but it ended up making it somewhat more combo based. And I love combo decks, so I do really enjoy links.
What was the most inaccurate prediction you've ever made?
Inaccurate prediction?
I thought Zoo was going to die after Rat went to 2. I was very wrong.
Inaccurate prediction? I don't know.
Did you think Spiral was dead when Quick Fix went to 1?
No, I said in the chat that Bradley was a gimp. Bradley was like, "Oh, it's dead."
Yeah,
And I
I
was
did.
just like,
I did. I actually said, if you're next level and you call right with agent every time, then yeah. And then I was just a fucking idiot. And then I slowly came around. But I'm surely I'm not the only one that's made like incorrect assumptions. I'm only human, boys.
I think the most a big mistake was probably going to Australia with Paleo.
I don't know why you say that, because like Paleo was sick.
Yeah, but the problem was the Australian meta is so diverse. You play shit blue eyes and you can't get over their 3k monsters, and when you play
I don't know
Cosmo,
though. Like,
like,
Paleo's really good
Eclipse's
against Rogue,
game.
isn't it?
Dog Eclipse's game.
Oh, right.
You can't target it, it negates all your traps, it's literally over.
I mean, okay, like, come on. Like, when are you gonna play against Cosmo, really?
He
fair
did.
enough.
In Australia, apparently. It knocked us out on the bubble.
All right,
I was like, what the fuck?
Alright, I'll do 2 more questions really quick. What decks have you liked most that haven't been meta? I changed your question slightly just to...
That haven't been better.
Yeah. Or maybe
But,
weren't
like,
meta at the time.
DDD is my favorite because obviously that wasn't an established meta, but everyone was just conceding the ABC.
Yeah. And just to clarify, this is DD before Lamia and the structure deck. So this was like really bad DDD. Like, well, not bad, but like it wasn't like it didn't have like
Well, it
its
was
fucking
considered
best
bad.
card. Yeah.
Like people were playing it with like Puppet Master and stuff, but that was just really shit. So I just like added another rank 6 toolbox engine in. If you want to, I don't know if Nadir still has it on his channel, but Anthony Alsop's deck list, and you can have a look at that. And that's how I played DDD, and it was really, really good. But I haven't really not played a best deck at an event. But if you mean by meta, you mean
Do you not have anything fun you play on the side?
You what, sorry?
Do you not have anything like fun you just like play on the side or whip out like for locals or something like that?
I did Satellanites now and again.
Fucking hell, I
Like
said
during
fun deck,
Necros
Darren,
format.
not normal summon pass.
During Necros format, I was just like, you know what, I'm a bit bored of Necros. I'm going to play Anti-Spell Tellarknights. I'm really big brain.
My word.
Do you think, what are your thoughts on Expo format, and do you think we're going to have tier 0 Pendulum Magicians?
I really like Trickstar too.
Was that your answer to my question?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's not tier 0 in the it's absolutely broken sense. Let's say Spiral's not going to be a thing come the upcoming YCSs, and we've got Pendulum. It's not as good as it is in the OCG, you know, because we don't have
Needle Fiber.
Needle Fiber, and Needle Fiber adds a really silly element to their deck because it makes their first turn board really powerful. Whereas now, you can make boards like 2 rank 4s or an Omega and a rank 4 pass, and that's quite a large investment, and the trap as well, obviously. And I don't think it's tier 0 in the sense that it's really powerful. It might just be tier 0 in the sense that there's nothing else to play. And if Spiral's still a deck, then Spiral I think is just better than it's still. And in all honesty, I'd want to play something more reliable than Trickstar, than Pendulum, and just play Trickstar, because Trickstar is just really fun.
Trickstar fun.
I really like Trickstar. It's like
You are a gimp.
it's deceptively skillful. 'Cause you-
Alright, Calvin.
All right, Calvin.
You've got to make like efficient trades and stuff, and like it's really cool.
That's a good one. How do you feel about Shonen Jump promos being legal only in America?
I mean, it is annoying that like I just don't understand how a card that's printed in America and we get the Shonen Jump as well can't be legal here, especially
Darren,
with a card.
When you go to Atlanta, Light Curry was legal, but then you're going to go to Bochum the next week and it won't be legal.
Yeah, I know. I said it in the stream. I said it in the chat that it was legal. But it's only relevant if you play Trickstar, I think. So, and Spiral, I guess. Spiral.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess it is annoying. I guess it's somewhat cool in the sense that their format is somewhat different to ours. But at the same time, we're both TCG, so it should be the same. The thing that annoys me the most is not their Shonen Jump promos, the fact that they get a YCS before we do. So they get a chance to establish the meta first. And then when we play the European YCS, if we had like an edge that gets revealed at the YCS, then it's just thrown out the window. And it's quite irritating how it's set up like that they go first and we do. It just feels like that they've completely disregarded Europe in a lot of cases in favor of America.
All right. So we've just been over an hour. I try to keep these under an hour. Yeah. So this has been History of the Yu-Gi-Oh Player with Darren, and yeah, I'd like some feedback and stuff as I reboot this series. Any suggestions for how you'd like the structure? Anything specific that you feel like I've missed out or should be going over? Then do let me know in the comment section down below. It'd be cool to find that out, just so I can make sure that this is good going forward as I get more players on. And yeah, there's also what was the last thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, just basically just any closing statements or anything final that you wanted to add or just put out there, Darren.
Just a shout out to Luke, Jawed, and Omar helping us with the past 2 YCSs that I've did well at, with the Spiral and Trickstar lists and stuff. The boys back in Newcastle, insert team that I am on here, and obviously you guys on the stream as well, because you are the real MVP.
I was gonna say, Darren, I thought you were just gonna dingy me.
No, you leave the best for last. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've enjoyed this game as much as I have until recently.
I think you've like spent more time and like more of your just everything with the Scottish people more than like the English people.
Yeah, it's because like when I used to test, it was just so serious and it just felt really suffocating, and you just didn't want to play because like if you made a mistake, then you just feel annoyed with yourself. Whereas like it feels like if you make a mistake here, it just feels more like growth, and you can just like evolve and like.
See, I'm the opposite. Whenever I test with like Jordan or something, it's just like, oh, what the fuck, you're so shit. No, you're not allowed to play that card. No, you can't play D-Barrier. Oh, you misplayed. You're so shit. Anyway,
I don't do that.
oh yeah, you did.
You can't play it. No, that's not deep barrier.
Anyway, anyway, if you've watched this far, leave a comment down below. Hashtag Maxi, of course, for Darren. And let us know who you'd like to see on next, and who you'd like, how you'd like this series fixed and structured, and any suggestions and constructive feedback. Let me know. All right.
Oh, mate, history of the Yu-Gi-Oh player Maxi.
History of Yu-Gi-Oh, Maxi through the
Maxi,
ages.
that has a lot of talk.
All right. Thanks everyone, and see you next time.